In the small village of Aka, there lived a young woman named Charity. She is known far and wide for her amazing hair braiding skills. Charity's hands moved like the wind, creating the most beautiful and intricate braids anyone had ever seen. Her speed was unmatched, and everyone who came to her salon was amazed by how quickly she could finish their hair. But there was one strange thing about Charity's salon. There were no mirrors. Not a single one. The walls were bare, and even the shiny surfaces were covered. Charity had a strict rule that no mirrors is allowed in her shop, and nobody knew why. Some people found it odd, but Charity's talent was so great that they didn't mind. They came for her skill and left with the most beautiful braids in just 1 hour. One day, a woman named Favor, who had never visited Charity's salon before, decided to try it out. She had heard so many good things about Charity's braiding, and she was excited to have her hair done by the best. Favor was curious about the no-mirror rule, but she didn't think much of it as she walked into the salon. As soon as Favor sat down, Charity noticed something shiny in her bag. It was a small, round mirror. Charity's eyes widened in fear. She quickly told Favor that no mirrors were allowed in her salon, and she asked her to put it away immediately. Favor, confused but wanting to respect the rule, put the mirror deep into her bag. Charity began to braid Favor's hair, her fingers flying through the strands like a bird in flight. Favor watched in amazement, but she couldn't help. She had the feeling that something was wrong. The way Charity had reacted to the mirror made her uneasy. After a while, Favor couldn't hold back her curiosity any longer. She asked Charity why there were no mirrors in the salon. Charity paused for a moment, then looked around nervously. "It's for your own safety," she whispered. Favor wanted to ask more questions, but the look in Charity's eyes told her to stop. As Charity finished Favor's hair, something unexpected happened. Favor's bag fell from her lap, and the little mirror fell out of her bag, landing face up on the floor. For just a moment, Charity caught a glimpse of her own reflection. She screamed and backed away as if the mirror had burned her. Favor quickly picked up the mirror and put it back in her bag, her heart racing. She could see that Charity was shaken, her hands trembling. Favor wanted to apologize, but she was too scared to say anything. Charity asked her to leave. Favor hurried out of the salon, her heart pounding with fear and confusion. What had she seen in the mirror that had scared her so much? That night, Favor couldn't stop thinking about the incident. She told her friend Joy about it, who was also curious. Joy decided that she would visit Charity's salon the next day to find out what was really going on. The next morning, Joy arrived at Charity's salon with a plan. She wanted to know the truth about the no-mirror rule, and she was determined to get to the bottom of it. As Charity started braiding her hair, Joy began asking questions. "Why don't you allow mirrors in your salon, Charity?" Joy asked casually. Charity hesitated, then gave the same answer she had given Favor. "It's for your own safety," she said quietly. But Joy wasn't satisfied with that answer. She knew there had to be more to the story. Joy decided to take a risk. She pretended to drop something on the floor, and as she bent down, she quickly took out a small mirror she had hidden in her pocket. When she held it up to Charity's face, something unbelievable happened. Charity's reflection in the mirror was not normal. Her face looked twisted and frightening, as if it belonged to someone else entirely. Joy gasped and dropped the mirror in shock. Charity let out a scream and backed away, her eyes filled with fear. Joy now knew that something was very wrong. She confronted Charity, demanding to know the truth. Charity broke down in tears and told Joy everything. She had made a terrible mistake years ago, when she was young and desperate to be the best hairstylist in the village. Charity had found an old book that told the story of a powerful spirit who could grant anyone extraordinary speed and skill in their work, but at a terrible cost. Desperate to be the best, Charity performed the ritual to summon the spirit. The spirit granted her the speed and skill she desired, but it came with a curse. The curse was that Charity could never look at her reflection in a mirror again. If she did, the spirit would take over her body and do terrible things. That was why she had enforced the no-mirror rule in her salon, to protect herself and her clients from the spirit's wrath. Joy was horrified by Charity's story, but she knew she had to help her. She couldn't let her friend continue to live in fear. But breaking the curse wouldn't be easy. The spirit was powerful, and it wouldn't let go of Charity easily. Joy knew she couldn't do this alone, so she went to see an elderly woman in the village who was known for her wisdom and knowledge of old stories. The woman, who everyone called Comfort, listened carefully as Joy told her about Charity's curse. Comfort nodded thoughtfully and said, "The spirit that has cursed Charity is very old and very powerful, but there is a way to break the curse. You will need a special mirror, one that is made from the purest silver and blessed with a special prayer." Comfort led Joy to a hidden part of the village, where an old blacksmith lived. The blacksmith was the only person in the village who knew how to make the special mirror that could trap the spirit. The blacksmith agreed to help, but he warned Joy that the process would be dangerous. The spirit would not be happy about their plan, and it would do everything it could to stop them. But Joy was determined to help Charity, no matter what. Once the mirror was ready, Comfort and Joy devised a plan to trap the spirit. They would take the mirror to Charity's salon and place it in a spot where Charity could see her reflection in it. When the spirit tried to take over her body, the mirror would trap it inside. But they had to be careful. The spirit was clever and could sense when something was wrong. If they weren't careful, the plan could backfire, and the spirit could escape into the village, causing chaos. The next day, Joy and Comfort went to Charity's salon. They told her about the plan, and although Charity was scared, she agreed to go along with it. She was tired of living in fear, and she wanted to be free from the spirit's control. They placed the special mirror on the wall, where Charity could see her reflection as she worked. Joy and Comfort waited anxiously as Charity began to braid a client's hair, her eyes darting nervously to the mirror. As Charity continued braiding, the spirit began to stir. It sensed the mirror and knew that something was wrong. Charity's hands started to shake, and she felt the spirit trying to take control of her body. She tried to fight it, but the spirit was too strong. Just as the spirit was about to take over, Charity caught a glimpse of her reflection in the special mirror. The mirror began to glow, and the spirit let out an angry scream as it was sucked into the mirror, trapped inside. For a moment, everything was quiet. Charity stood frozen, her eyes wide with fear. Joy and Comfort held their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Then, slowly, Charity's hands stopped shaking, and she looked at her reflection in the mirror. The twisted, frightening face was gone. It was just her, Charity, looking back at herself. She let out a sigh of relief and sank to the floor, tears streaming down her face. The spirit was gone, and she was free. Word quickly spread through the village that Charity had broken the curse. People gathered outside her salon, cheering and clapping. Charity stepped outside, feeling lighter than she had been in years. She was free from the spirit's control, and she could finally live her life without fear. Joy and Comfort stood by her side, smiling proudly. They had faced a great danger, but they had triumphed. The village celebrated late into the night, with music, dancing, and laughter filling the air. The next day, Charity made a big decision. She went to the market and bought a new mirror and put in her shop. Her clients were amazed to see the mirrors back in the shop, and they couldn't stop talking about Charity. Charity smiled as she watched her clients admire their braids in the mirrors. She felt a sense of pride and joy that she hadn't felt in a long time. She had faced her fears and come out stronger on the other side. With the mirrors back in place, Charity's salon became more popular than ever. People from all over the village and beyond came to have their hair braided by the talented Charity. Her hands were still as quick as ever, but now she could work without the weight of the curse hanging over her. Charity realized that her talent was her own, not the spirit's. She had always been skilled, but the spirit had tricked her into thinking she needed its help. Now that she was free, she could embrace her gift fully. Charity's story spread far and wide, and people came from all over to hear about how she had defeated the evil spirit. They admired her bravery and strength, and they learned an important lesson. No matter how tempting it might be to take shortcuts, there is always a price to pay. Charity's salon became a place of happiness and joy, where people could come not just to have their hair done, but to feel good about themselves. And Charity, who had once lived in fear, now lived with a sense of peace and contentment. As time went on, Charity and Joy became the best of friends. They had been through a lot together, and their bond was unbreakable. They often sat together in the evenings, talking and laughing about all that had happened. Charity knew that she would never have been able to break the curse without Joy's help. It was Charity's curiosity and determination that had set her free. And Joy, in turn, was grateful to have such a strong and talented friend in Charity. Together, they showed the village that with friendship, courage, and a little bit of magic, anything is possible. Charity's salon became a symbol of hope and strength, a place where people could come to feel beautiful inside and out. And as they lived their lives in happiness and peace, the story of the No Mirror Salon became a legend that would be told for generations to come.